Merry meet and bright blessings. For those that don't know, I'm RowanRavenwolf, and this is Witchy Book Club. This is our last chapter in the Spiral Dance. We're doing chapter 13, and chapter 13 is Creating Religion Toward the Future. So, here we go. Welcome, Brent.
That's the final chapter?
Final chapter, and then we're your book next week. So everybody that doesn't know, we start next week. So, yeah, if you want to purchase the book, which you're going to want to, make sure you're following Bren and go to his link, his bio. He has Linktree, and then it will take you right to the book so you can order it. So it might take a little time to get it because they do print them to order them. It did take 5 days for me. So if you order it tonight, you might have it by Sunday next week. So, because I can't remember how they shipped, and like that's the big thing is some places guarantee shipping on Saturdays and some don't. Like FedEx will ship on Saturdays. So,
yeah,
but
I think with Lulu.com, I think they send, because I got mine through FedEx each time.
Yeah, well, I can't remember, to be honest. Like, that sounds awful. But, yep. So, welcome, everyone. We are on the last chapter of the Spiral Dance. So, it is on creating religion toward the future. This is an open panel, and this is a spiritual safe place. So, if you have read the book, or you have a comment, you're welcome to come up. But again, it is a spiritual safe place. So whether you're on panel or in the comments, no forcing your beliefs on others, no judging others, and no being a cyber bully or keyboard warrior, whichever terminology you would like to use. So we do ask for kindness and love when you are here. So, all right, we're going to jump in. So in this chapter, she really talks about how kind of witchcraft and paganism can be created into a religion. Some people call it, I personally call it a spiritual practice because I feel that I'm at a higher level. Well, not like me personally, but I feel like, when we look at some religions, it's when you hit an area within that religion or spiritual practice, you start to become more enlightened. So it's more of a spiritual practice than really a religion. Now, we'll just kind of like dive in. Did I invite? I see Azrael is here. Oh, I don't know if it'll let me invite him. Okay, I think it did. It's like doing something weird. So.
I just want to say this real quick. I haven't done coffee grind reading ever before, but I want to try. I'm going to try it right now. Hold my wine glass, even though I don't drink wine. Because look at the symbolism of this. Do you see? Do you see a woman holding out something?
Yeah, like a cup or a light. Wow.
And you could see like the hair. It looks like it's white right there. And it just, wow. Look how that landed.
Wow, that is really cool. I should have done that this morning with my very cool. Ooh, and it's a lunar eclipse tonight too, which is really cool. Oh, she's reading a book. Very good. Very good. Oh yeah, it could be a book. I do see that now. I was thinking like a...
Yeah, I can see that. This is also why I like the art of divination, because it really allows your mind to really think.
Yes, it does. It does. And it helps you like develop a lot of insight and intuition.
And in a way too, you can kind of even also see it at the bottom, like if you're not looking at the woman, it also looks like there's a fish swimming upstream,
Oh, yeah, I can kind of see that too.
or even like a mermaid, kind of. Wow. But anyway,
Sometimes we get derailed in a good way. All right. So I'm going to just we're going to jump into the last chapter of the book. So the last chapter, so Starhawk talks about we can empower, especially like using women as symbolism and the goddess, because really she's trying to concentrate on the goddess. Like most religions really concentrate on the god. We have a couple like Hinduism, they do talk like they're more balanced. So there are some out there that are more balanced. But she does talk about empowerment in your own life and sovereignty in your own life and your living spaces. How we can do this in chants and rituals. And typically, like, it is recommended by a lot of people who practice in the occult community to do it at night. And, we get a bigger connection. And I don't know, Bren, you can make a comment on this too, on your thoughts. Like, I've always felt very drawn to the moon, and I feel very attuned to the moon energy. And I was actually talking about it with a friend today, how I'm very attuned with the moon energy and have been for many, many decades. And there's just something special about that energy that just kind of you feel it's taking you to a higher place, and you can connect to the cosmos and nature a little better. So maybe that's why. But yeah, go ahead, Bren.
yeah, because usually you can also see in somebody's charts placements like what luminary they're more attuned to. The more attuned to the solar or more attuned to the lunar. I'm also more attuned to the lunar because usually whenever I go outside, I've noticed this. When I'm in the sun for a long period of time, I start to sneeze a lot. Yeah, I literally sneeze a lot more when I'm in the sunlight. And that's actually also, I think that's a real medical condition where you're allergic to sunlight.
Yes, yes. There's not a lot of people who are, but there are people who are allergic to sunlight.
Yeah,
Well,
like
that's
my,
real.
like my, like a great friend of mine, Kendra. She's an artist, and I mean, she's done modeling work, she's done book writing, and she has her own practice. And for a while, she starts to get nauseated and sick.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and a lot of people do, like, if you get like heat stroke easily. I mean, I know a lot of, and I mean, is that an allergy? I know there was like at one point, gosh, a long time ago, there was one reported case of somebody who was actually allergic to water. Can you imagine? Because our bodies are made up of water.
Yeah, and that even makes me think like, because in a way that makes you really stop and think, like even from an astrologer's perspective, if somebody has an allergic to water, chemical reaction to water, that must be a real hemp, or well, hemp is also another word for a really like deeply negatively impacted moon. Then, like bad impacted.
Yeah, I mean, like you wouldn't even be able to shower or anything. I mean, it just, mind blowing. I mean, it really is. So, Azriel, we'll let you go next, and then Astra will let you go. So, Starhawk's talking about, doing rituals in the night, and we're kind of talking about like our connection with the moon. So please feel free to just jump in. So your thoughts, Azriel, if he's there and can hear us.
I'm here. I'm here. I just wanted to get something. Hold on a second. I was connecting my headphones, and I also wanted to share. Look. Oh.
Oh, it
Ah,
came.
Yeah. So I got it. I'm ready for next week. You know. Just wanted to show that. Hold on a second.
yeah.
I,
But how does the interior look? How do you like the interior?
I love it. I love it. I like the idea and the concept. It's very. Very good. You know, but I love this because this introduction, it took me 3 minutes to understand what mix is all about. No, but I'm saying it in a good way because it's very positive. Because you know what, I never knew that. We talk about deities of light and stuff like that, but never next. And now it all came together, and it flourished, and it was a good idea. I appreciate it. And I've been getting into it, but I know we're going to divide it into 2 weeks. So I'm very, I want to make sure that I read it at a pace that I can make sense of it when the questions do arise. But as far as the question you were talking about, why the rituals perform under the night. um well, I myself was, a child born in the night. you know, and I don't know what circumstance, where the moon position was in that specific night, but it's that sense of energy. In the daytime, we get a energetic from the sun, but it all depends how we construct our day, and it's, especially like if we did a ritual in during the daytime, it's like really no inspiration. But I don't know if you guys feel it, but in the nighttime, as soon as the moon is out and darkness arises, you are eager to do something. And I think, we are more open to being able to utilize that energy without being disturbed by society and everything that is happening all around us. So there's so much going on in the daytime that we can actually find so much under the moonlight in darkness to actually inspire us. So we're more in tune and with our intuition, our intentions, those ghosts in the night, those energy, that energy, it allows us to focus more because you know what, it's electrifying, and there's an energy in the darkness that's more than the light. So I definitely believe working with the rituals in the nighttime is more inspirational, and you have more of positive aspects of it because the energy's there. I think what lacks in the daytime is that energy. In the day, the sun, what I'm trying to get at is the day we have the sunlight, yes, and that sunlight is letting us know we're in the day, but the inspiration isn't there. In the nighttime, in the moonlight, there's this mystical inspiration that, it makes.
Nope, still there. Oh, there we go. Did we lose Lazarel? Oh, there we go. It's fuzzy. Oh, you were on such a good roll. We've lost you, I think. I think the spirits are
Dang it,
giving you
Spirit, get off his mic.
exactly. There we go.
No, I'm here.
We're back.
Wi-Fi router.
Oh.
Um, yeah, yeah, because I wasn't connected to the Wi-Fi router, and it seems like when I don't, this happens, and I am so close to the cemetery, and
Yes.
and I was just looking outside my window, and it's very mystical, but there is this electric in the night, and the more that I read Brent's book, it's not electricity, it's mixed in the dark, it's in the night, and I think that's the inspiration that we don't embrace because we never were drawn that way. You know what I'm saying? When I say drawn, there's this energy, this mystical aura all around me, especially in the nighttime where I'm more inspired. Many creators, many writers, many musicians, many poets, everybody does their work in the night. And that work is like a ritual. So we are more creative in the night, especially with our rituals, because we get inspired. We're not distracted by anything that is in the daytime. In the daytime, we are eager to see the animals and see who's out here, what's happening, the airplanes flying, cars zooming by, so much activity. But in the nighttime, while everybody's sleeping, we are the children of the night, and this is where we are actually more awake and more in tune. And when we're more in tune, we're more creative with our rituals.
Yeah. Very beautiful. I think so too. So thank you, Azrael. Astro, I would love your take on this, especially with the connection with the cosmos and the moon energy.
I I got a phone call. I wasn't sure if you were talking to me. Hey, what's
Yep.
up? I love how you doing. Um, I love what Azrael said, and well, I'm kind of out of the blue. Bren, send me about that book. I didn't know you wrote one. You do so many things, you know. So um,
6 of them.
we're going to have to throw it in my face. But yes, I love it. I love you, man. Uh,
Well, join
so
us next week. We're starting his book next week. So
okay. That's all. I like that. Like an astrological and psychological, spiritual book club.
yeah.
Okay, sure. And so we're talking. You guys were talking about the moon, right? Well, I mean, and well, I wanted to just backtrack on what you were talking about. So the moon being like exalted in Taurus, and this is a connection to our values because it's our self-worth and the desires are from the core of your values, right? So there's a valuable time why for us it feels that because Taurus moon is the physical sensations are interior. So having a physical inspiration or connection to the beauty allows our inner senses. This is why sometimes, some material things that we want to have, like that comfort us, and a couple of things, because it holds a purpose, is what I want to say. They're not like the incense, that smell that's exterior affects us, right? So just little things like that in the moon, I just wanted to say. So, yep.
And just like, because we have to be derailed, I am so looking forward to tonight. Like it says we're not going to be able to see it, but I have a feeling we'll get to see a little bit of red on the moon tonight.
We might see a little bit of it
Oh,
because
yeah.
like it was like so last year we had it in the US. This year it was on China and Eastern Europe and Northern Africa and Northwest Australia. They were able to see it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping
But I
I
felt it though.
I mean, but still, it's
Did you
that.
feel it? Because I can tell you this whole week for me has been one of extreme of energetic expansion where your our rhythm of the day, which I keep bringing up already a couple of months, the routine, the schedule. This is going to be what brought and is bringing awareness of what is exhausting us because it's no longer holding rhythm with the universe. And we're all doing a little bit of it. It's okay because I caught myself, but it's having this awareness and programming that you can be okay. Subconscious habitual patterns, they're the condition that we're all susceptible to picking up, and they're going to show up in situations, and it's allowing ourselves to have surrendering. I mean, like this is a year where I would say the main ingredient is surrendering and compassion. And so that compassion is literally right now, South Node Virgo is saying, are you functioning out of duty or are you serving out of love?
Well, I can say the moon has had a very interesting because I felt like a
I
shift.
felt it today.
But what is really interesting is 2 days this week. So I'm in a small town now. And I am by the Bear River. I am 2,300 steps away from Bear River State Park in Wyoming,
Mm.
like a national park, kind of, but it's a state park, so it's like the similar. But there is a female doe, and I pulled in from going to the grocery store, and she literally like kind of came and looked at me in my car, and then just gently walked off, right? Well, yesterday, same doe, because I recognized the coloring, and it's the third time I've seen her. She literally came up to one of the other people that live in the apartment, was one of my neighbors, and the neighbor was like surprised. And yeah, she kind of hung like, this is very interesting because I mean, we're not talking animals that are used to humans. I mean, we're literally in their territory, you know, and
Yeah,
you'll see,
yes.
yeah, she was like, it's a complete shift. The first time I saw her,
It
she
was
was,
out of rhythm.
it
Out
was
of
out of
rhythm.
rhythm.
This is what I'm talking about. The universal out of rhythm, that our rhythm that served us from 2016, year 9, and now we're in another year 9 of releasing, because we had a North Node Virgo in 2016. And this year was, okay, it's time to release a little compassion and a little, because we had too much of that, and release a dream and start to do the list, get the schedule in 2016. It was about the service and the duty. But now its 9-year course has run out, because now it's the opposite. South Node Virgo, North Node Pisces. So it's releasing that from 2016, which is really crazy, because so what I've been doing, because I've been released, I mean, it's been where there's been no other option but surrender. So it's like, it's okay. Like, I mean, because sometimes we do have options. This year, the universe has said, no more. You're going to see that you're going to get exhausted, have insomnia, and digestive issues if you don't realize that, because the South Node Virgo represents insomnia. And a lot of physical, like, whether it's your bones or your teeth or things that are aching right now, are just resurfacing of something interior that is coming to a physical, because Saturn and Pisces is asking you one thing. Do you know how to observe your past? That's Pisces. And time is Saturn. And so one of the things that I tell people, if you remember this, and this is something that is very important, it will help you out. We're having literally the same eclipse at the same degree from September 7th of 2006. And I can tell you that it's repeating. I see it for me. And I was talking in my workshop. And so these are the things that are understanding your past so you don't repeat it. I wouldn't remember. I had to go back on MySpace. I had to see what were, yeah, this is how you do your research as your own. For me, what was going on back then that I don't remember, but it will come back because I have memory. And that's what I love about John Dee and Nostradamus and Dante, the real astronomy, not the astrology. I'm giving timelines. That's not astrology.
I always recommend, especially when I'm teaching classes, to journal. And when you journal,
Hmm.
journal what the weather was today where you live. Now, if you're on vacation, put I'm on vacation in, and then put where you're at and what the weather was. And then what is the moon cycle? How is your body physically, emotionally, and spiritually reacting to your environment and to the moon cycle? And then you can go back and you can go, oh, okay, I get it. Pisces full moon. Oh, I get it. New moon in Virgo. Oh, I get it. There was a lunar eclipse. Like, then you start to see a pattern come about. And so, like,
Yes.
the more detail you can put in there, the more you learn your cycles, and you can learn and grow, and you can be like, oh, you know what? It's a new moon in Virgo, and it's also a lunar eclipse. This happened before, and you can flip through, find it in your journal, read what happened, and be prepared
Yes.
for it.
Hmm. That's what I actually do in my workshops. With Annie, who's one of the ladies there, and Kamari, when we journal these sequences, we're able to put it there and remember. The thing is that we don't have the capacity to remember all at once. It has to be in some kind of form. It has to be a certain condition of limit that we're able to. So these dates, as you know, a lot of the mathematicians back then, like John Dee, to do calculations, to understand how the Queen Elizabeth was able to win the war and knowing when to strike because he guided her through a condition. This is key. And so, yeah, I was going back to MySpace because I see things now. Because it's literally the closing cycle. What started in 2006, Facebook and Twitter came to the public. MySpace was at its peak. Where are we now? Google bought YouTube, Web 2.0. Do you see the changes though? Because this is now upgrade where AI is taking over. And you can even do the next cycle back and you see like integration of when the internet came out. So it's kind of like, oh, so the universe is giving us these formulas to understand God within us, and through this engine that creates life. Interesting. It's just fascinating. Sorry, I just get blown away because it's like there's so much that we can pick up from each other and learn. Because what you're
Yeah.
talking about is my language. You're just saying it
Yep.
in a different expression, right? Like, because I
Yep.
get what you're saying by journaling and going back to the moon cycles. I just use a different language. I mean,
Yes.
well,
Yes.
yeah, like the same base but different language, right? My astronomical language that's my own and unique. That's what makes it beautiful, because everything's already been said and done and written. We pass it on, but you are unique and the way you express it, and me too. And that's how we make it our own, because it's not really ours. But anyway,
And
thank you for allowing me to express.
oh, yes, thank you. Well, Azrael's doing the mind blown because Azrael is constantly reminding everybody take notes during these spiritual TikToks. Take notes, take notes, take notes, which is the same thing as journaling. Like, this is how we remember, this is how we learn, you know? So, Bren, I know you're ready to burst. Go, 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 because we're on like this beautiful roll. So let's just go with it.
It's funny because all of that, well, because like with the idea, because earlier today I was in, I can't remember. Oh wait, it was Wolf's live, and he was away for a second, and I was pretty much telling I can't remember her name though. Pathways, I think that was her name. But I was just telling them and her that essentially, whenever you have something like free will and fate, now fate is exactly these patterns. These patterns of fate must play out. But where the free will comes in is how those locked things come into play. So, for an example, say if you're aware that okay, you're going to have an accident happen on this date. That, of course, that's just a really big, major hypothetical. But say if you're aware that there is some kind of pain that has to happen on that day. So, preemptively, when you are aware of that, instead of you going down and playing it by chance, putting yourself in a big, riskier situation, you just grab something blunt and just bonk yourself on the head. That's how you manipulate it. This must happen. You must feel pain somehow. Okay, bonk. You just bamboozled it. And that's the same thing. You just bamboozled it. And that's the same thing too with like how remedies of actually reinstating vows counts as a second marriage. That nullifies the first effect of marriage, and then the new one comes in. That's the second marriage by technicality. That helps mitigate it. Your first marriage must have intense challenges and make you feel unworthy, unloved, and detached from, like your spouse ignores you. Your second marriage, it'll be the complete opposite. So you do a reinstatement of vows. That's how you bamboozle it. See?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yes, I love this panel. I'm so glad and thankful for everybody here on panel. Azriel, come on, I know you've got something to add.
Darn it. Are we the same question regarding the energy?
No, we're just kind of going with the flow right now, so feel
Oh
free to go with
yeah.
the
Well,
flow.
part of these discussions, especially like when we're talking about this, is we're able to surround ourselves with some brilliant minds, and each one of us is a spark to the next individual. And when I made that reference of the mind blown, that's how I am all the time. Because you know what? I can never prepare myself to hear what I'm about to hear. Everything happens in the spur of the moment. Everything is dropped on us. The reality, the truth, the perspectives, all these sparks in inspirations are just random. You know what I'm saying? And we have to be prepared for this. And one thing that I do want to inspire, when you mentioned about the journaling is, for those that have the benefit of screenshotting lives and stuff like that, when stuff gets going and you don't have time to find a piece of paper or something to write it down, you can always screenshot lives like this, and you can always take notes and use it as reference in the future, whether you're writing books like Bren or being inspired to write a song or a poem. Moments like this when we're all together and discussing the beauty of working with, let's say, the metaphysical, like rituals and the occult and stuff like that. Depending on what deity, if you're working with one, it's a good moment. It's a good moment to not only be inspired in the present moment, but be inspired and prepared for the next cycle. The next 28 days, and looking at exactly, whether, like right now we're having an eclipse, and it's unique. It's a very unique eclipse that's happening. And like Astro makes a reference, if it wasn't for Astro reminding us that there's two of them in September, I would only be looking forward for the first one until I hear from somebody else or find it on my own that, oh, there's another eclipse. So we prepare ourselves by these things that life on a day-to-day basis gets us so busy, that sometimes we forget. So when I surround myself around individuals like yourself, everybody here on this panel, it inspires me to these things that I know, but I don't know everything. So it's good for me to know somebody because, I mentioned it before. Life is not about what you know, but who you know. And as long as we're in these lives like here, the individuals with brilliant minds are a representation of us because it's been spoken over and over. Each individual that we meet is a reflection of us. Think about it. Life will be a lot more simpler when we don't entertain with knowing everything, for just surrounding yourself with the right individuals will help you grow. And if that is positive in aspects, that's what I want to share for right now.
Thank you, Azrael. Astro, anything else to add? We're just kind of on the flow right now, so.
Oh, please. Well, I mean, it's as Azrael was talking about, and I believe that this. Hold on a second. So we had a dark moon on the 23rd, right? So this is why it's connecting, right? Remember, I put up a video about 2 weeks ago about this, right? So it's about the that was called the black moon, right? And the reason that was called the black moon is because this moon was a 0 degree of Virgo and 0 or 1 degree, and the next one is at 29 degree Virgo. We don't always get this in the same sign. So that new moon wasn't about the new intention yet. That was a misconception to understand the black moon. Because now, on September 23rd, we are going to have this new moon at this degree, which is going back to the August 23rd on September 22nd. Yeah, September 22nd. And we can really start to journal something as a collective now from the macro, because without the macro, your micro is lost. It's not about your natal chart. Your natal chart's a responder. What's projecting in life? The transits, the mundane astrology, the base. Because then it became personalized, which is part of it too. But it's the outer and inner, right? So I gotta tell you, Azrael, yeah, and it's that day where we are going to have a prelumbral. So it's a prenumbral eclipse because it's like these are markers of like cleansing the soul. We're literally giving birth in like to the portal womb, okay, kind of energy, and it's really a time to understand one of the main things right now. You must know how to see the beauty in what just feels empty right now, because this is a new frontier. You haven't filled it up yet, but you can't take the same path. This is a whole new frontier of what we're entering. So just remember, no one knows where they're going yet. That's okay. We're gonna go back to Saturn entered Pisces a couple days ago. Uranus went retrograde yesterday. Fucking A. So I'll just leave it at that.
Yep, lots of cosmic energy. We're gonna see like a major shift, and we're gonna feel this within ourselves. So it's like really like even just watch nature. Like when I go for my walks, it's they're 3 to 4 hours, sometimes 5 hours long, because I will sit and watch birds. I'll sit and watch bison. I'll sit and watch elk. It depends on who happens to make their appearance. And actually, when we watch nature, they're more in tune to the cosmos than we are. If you've ever noticed, like if you have a cat or a dog and they can sense an earthquake, even if it's a very minor one, like they can sense it. They can sense, oh, there's really high winds coming, so they all of nature has like a deeper sense. And it's when we are outside and connecting with nature, connecting with the moon, connecting with the cosmos, that's when we start to actually have that connection. We can start to get that sensitivity too. So, I love this discussion tonight. All right, so I'm going to just briefly talk. I'm going to hold up the book again for those that are just joining. And we do veer off topic, and it's okay, because when we are reading these spiritual books, we are supposed to grow from them, and they're supposed to inspire us. So it's completely fine. So, all right, so Starhawk talks about suggesting religion as relinking spirituality as an affirmation in human spirit, and it's a true connection of the divine that exists in all of us. So she's saying if we make it religion instead of spirituality, however you feel it, we can promote empowerment, encourage us to reject dogma, and nurture our own experience, wisdom, and guidance. So, all right, here we go. We can take all aspects of our beliefs here in the spiritual TikTok realm. And how do you feel about this? Like, do you feel your spirituality is a religion, or is it a spirituality? What is your connection? How do you feel about that, Bren?
Well, for me, I can't say that my standing is a religion, because it's not. How do I put this? Because to me, when you have a religion, in a way, you're having a systematic thing set up that follows a guideline. And at least what I've noticed, whenever you try to take that higher force and you try to put it in a system and have it follow something uniformal, I can guarantee you it will immediately turn on itself to destroy it, so that way it can be free again. And that's what I think religion is. You're trying to force a belief to turn a certain way, but in doing that, you're now going to have it then turn on itself, so that way that energy can just flow again. So I can't say that what my standing is a religion. That's why I claim that I'm unorganized. That way I can freely flow.
Yeah, I actually agree with you, Brian, because I feel that it's more spirituality than religion. And I wouldn't want it to be religion and be organized, because unfortunately there are people who organize it, and it becomes more somebody trying to be in control of everybody. So, and there we go. Then we don't have our own beliefs that can grow and evolve and connect us to the cosmos and connect us to the divine, connect us to the deities. I don't know. That's my thoughts too. So, Azriel, your thoughts?
Our spirituality, like mine specifically as a religion, no, I don't think so. And I think most of these, like Brent said, are man, well, they all are by man. I've come to realize that life is not about choices, because religion is about us choosing this or that, up or down, left or right, this God or that God, or vice versa. And in actuality, spirituality helps us break out that point of making choices and being our true sense, in our true sense being the option. We have many options to one day, let's study about Hecate. Next day, I'm reading Brent's book next, or the following day, I'm going to jump on Astro and learn some astrology. So my spirituality is actually part part of me because I think, spirituality is the spiral of life. It's knowing that, today I arise with the sun, and maybe if I choose to sleep tonight with the moon, I'm going to sleep, but I can stay up all night. There's no true rules to my life. And that's the spiral of life, is where you appreciate everything and all that exists. And, in spirituality, there's a lot of booby traps, a lot of places where you actually entrap yourself. It's so designed to keep people in a box that once you go beyond that box, you are given, labels and stuff like that. Because the same individuals that claim to be religious are the same individuals that are cutting you off when you're driving, the same individuals that are calling you racist names, and they don't know why. So they use the excuse of an exterior entity to forgive them for they do not know what they say or do. So if you understand that in spirituality, we learn the power of attraction. We know for every action there's a counteraction, and we are the co-creators for it's we don't come here to preach and tell everybody, you know what, Astro, you better listen to me, because if you're not listening to me, you're gonna go astray. you know, so I broke down one time, and I don't know exactly how I broke it down, but religion, the REL stands for relics, which are crosses and symbols and books and stuff. The IG are examples, and the ION is who we are. It's our energy. And basically, they're using idols, books, and stuff to say that if we believe in these idols and these books, that we're pure and we're cleansed. And why do we put our beliefs on something exterior when the power is always within ourselves? What I learned from each one of you guys here is that example, that you inspire me to look within, and within me I can use the tools of understanding my spiral of life, which is the astrology, the signs up there. Brent has shown me what night means. Nobody has shown me what night meant. All I learned was the light. And I seen the light, and I embraced the light and everything. But I learned something yesterday in a circle. It was, I am the medicine, born from the womb, one part light, one part shadow, howling at the moon. And that's it. So we are one part light and one part shadow, and we have to embrace everything. And religion only allows us to look at it one way, and it's whoever orchestrated its way. And here we have different perspectives, and now we have what is called the all-seeing eye. I'm seeing things through your shoes, through Brent's shoes, through Astro's shoes, and anybody else that comes in here. Go ahead, Astro. You said not necessarily.
You're like, well, okay, because I get what you're saying 100%. But one thing I've noticed through religion, right, when we look even into the etymology in Latin, it represents religare, right? It's a to bind back, right? Because we get lost in the definition as a meaning, but it's not its fact. And I'm not saying you were wrong, right? I'm connecting with you and seeing there's always a polarity to everything. Nothing is just objective to be one thing, okay? We give it that power. Because if you think about it, within religion is a suggestion of connection to human soul and divine. It binds community and shared values. Because religion is a system of beliefs, rituals, myths, and communal practices. It seems like the spiritual community on TikTok. Is it bad? I'm just saying something that's a religion. And take away what Christianity, because there's corruption in that. Yes. Right, but from its meaning, it's the beginning of organizing, binding people together. It offers their values, their moral codes, and their cosmological frameworks. Right, that was the beginning of time. It was hijacked, but the religion itself had the meaning and purpose that provides just that. Right, because from a fact that has no meaning, that's where truth comes in. And so religion had that for community, for moral compass, and for ritual healing and transcendence. But if you didn't understand its individualistic approach through sovereignty and through, which is one of the biggest things religion has taken away, dogma, you become rigidity, control, conflict, right? Guilt of what you've done, dependency of some outer that but like I said, there's its purpose was the meaning and purpose of community, the ritual healing, and the moral understanding. Because Freud called religion like wishful fulfillment. And that's something that is necessary for our desires so we don't become infected in our psyche and become repressed and evil, is what I call it. So I just wanted to share that. It wasn't, understanding that religion is both sacred architecture and a psychic prison. There you go.
I like that. Sacred architecture and a psychic prison. That is I coming from a Christian religion that was more cultish. Yeah. Like we were really confined by a lot of rules. We are after the next book because the next book discussion will be 2 weeks, and I think this is like really profound. We're going to be reading The Great Divorce by C.S. Lewis. I should probably flip this. Hang on. Let's see. Mirror. There we go. We'll be reading The Great Divorce by C.S. Lewis, which actually it was during one of the book club discussions. I was like, Bren, we got to read The Great Divorce and discuss it. And he was like, yes.
Yeah.
But here's the thing with tonight's discussion. I pulled out my screw tape letters. Like you were saying, Azrael, like with some of the organized religions right now, that people have taken things in a wrong way. And, screw tape is like a lower level demon. And he's doing things to get people to break God's rules and to come to the devil. And I mean, sometimes it's as simple as accidentally bumping somebody but not saying sorry, so as you were talking about that, it just really reminded me, because I was like, I've got to read Screw Tape again too, because for those that don't know, I have a lot of admiration for C.S. Lewis. I do not we're going off my memory. He was either born Christian and then became atheist and then Protestant, or he was born Protestant, became atheist, and then went into Christianity. Either way, he was very spiritually knowledgeable, and he actually, even if you read Mere Christianity, you read Screw Tape, you read The Great Divorce, you read his actual philosophical theological books, then you go back and read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe series, mind blown. Because
Learn through the Rosicrucian, the macro, the micro. And so there was a lot of alchemical breakdown from understanding that these are the planets were psychological archetypes. And so psychological archetypes needed a meaning to a character of your ancestry. And so through my teacher, this is why I found the beauty in religion, why its purpose too, right? Because it taught me this, stories to make sense of something that was so factual with data. It was a meaning, right? So I just wanted to share that.
thank you. Thank you. See, that's why I love this panel. We have so many brilliant people up here tonight. So, yeah, we can think about this. Let the philosophy, let the psychology, let your spirituality come through and really think for yourself. That's my biggest takeaway. So I'm going to go back through, no question. We're kind of on a really good flow. So Bren, anything to add?
Because the idea with the archetypes and all that being weaved in, because how if I'm remembering correctly, the lion. Oh my god, I can't. I was about to say the lion and the lion, the bitch, and the road. I was about to say that, but in all honesty, it's because the symbolism behind each of those characters, especially the unexpected, you have the lion supposed to be representing Christ in some capacity. And you have the witch supposed to be, I believe that's supposed to be the character representing Satanas, I think, or the devil or something along those lines, which I find really ironic how she's being represented as an ice witch. Because at least in Dante's Inferno and the Divine Comedy, the realm where he resides in is a frozen lake, which, by the way, is also Niflheim from the Norsemen. Uh huh. So, and it being an ice witch, that makes you really think that, okay, I could see that polarity, but now the question is, why female? What's that supposed to mean? Hmm? Hmm? I don't
Goddess
know.
Lilith much?
Yeah.
Goddess Nyx? Goddess Hecate? I mean,
Oh, yep, Saturn, there it is. Yeah, I can see that.
Saturn. Yes, 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 Astro Saturn.
See that. Cousin the Kabbalah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go on, Brad. I'm sorry. Go on.
And, well, because I know, and I believe it's Catholicism, that Saturn is being seen as feminine, female for that. If I'm remembering correctly, I might be wrong though.
It has breast and
Because if you actually look at the Baphomet and how it's structured and how it's all weaved together as a symbolism, you can see that the ascendant for that is a Capricorn, and then when you work your way down, you start to see all those signs come to life in each part of the body. It's really fascinating, to be honest.
100%. And that's why they considered it the ice of hell was cold, because it's a Capricorn. And this is why even Capricorns that are born into the season have this energetic vibration, which is why they come off a little bit cold, right? Like Aquarius is, because the season was really cold. So this is not taking it personal, guys, but we're starting to see, oh, okay. And there's a purpose for that.
Yes, yes. Azriel, any divine insight to add?
Okay, I'm just hold on a second. I'm thinking. It's my eyes are burning. It's just I'm tired. But hold on a second. So yeah, so I definitely, we're talking about there's really no question. But you know what? I definitely see I think they call it allegory. Because in ancient times, many individuals weren't able to read, and only the wealthy was able to study to write, and the wisdom and the philosophy that was shared through the teachings of many individuals. And I believe a lot of egregores and deities were created in the aspects like a book. You could pick up a book, a specific book, and associate many teachings and examples with a book. And I definitely believe a lot of these books were deities that were created. And they're represented by so many different aspects, including angelic beings and such. When you think of let's say a dark entity, a dark force, and say, oh, it's a representation of darkness and you're burning in fire and because you're evil and so forth and everything, wasn't really a being itself, but it was really a book to inspire, like a book of life. So in that aspect, we have to go back and what's within ourselves through our experiences and those things that have been shown to us. Actions speak louder
I
than
think that
words, and I think
isn't.
our actions of first-hand experience is showing us that all we as individuals need is the fine tuning, and the fine tuning is experiencing in life, but also allowing ourselves to hear other people's perspectives and their experiences, because this allows us to polish up you know who we are as individuals. The road to, let's say, a great place is thin, and there's going to be so many obstacles, there's going to be so many distractions, there's going to be so many out there that are trying to confuse us, because when I talk, and for every pitfall that we take, there's something that is actually utilizing our energy, siphoning from us, because we are believing in a specific set of rules or a specific algorithm, that when we follow that specific algorithm, our energy is taken from us, and we feel the pains, the sorrows, the lost of life, not the joys of life, but the opposite of it, and somebody else is gaining from our joys. So it's the fear tactic that it's only one way to achieve a level of understanding and fulfilling your life journey by being happy. And we feel that by being happy, we have to sacrifice our own happiness sometimes. And it's one step at a time. We can only save one person at a time, and that person starts with us. On a one-on-one level, we need to go within ourselves and start to remove all this exterior nonsense that has been going on for 2,000, 4,000 years, and say, you know what, right now in this present moment, all that exists in the past is in the palm of my hands. No matter where I go, if I need any knowledge or wisdom, it's right here in my palm. The only thing that I need to do is take the actions to put it to work. And as we come together in groups like this, like I said, with Astro, yourself, Brent, everybody that I meet here, I'm seeing that we are taking the initial steps to create what? To create the next level. Not our future, but those in the future are going to use us and what we have done right now to be inspired. So we are the inspiration for those in the future. So that's what I'm saying. Those books and everything of the past were inspiration for us, but it was not meant for our life. It was meant to remind us who we are. And we are those same individuals. As 2,000 years from now, we're going to be those to other individuals. So let's lead by example, and be the book.
Yes, that's beautiful. Thank you, Azrael. Always love having everybody on panel. I want to just do a quick shout out. Thank you so much for all of the hearts. Let's see if we can get a couple more. And thank you for the gifts for myself and everybody on panel. Always appreciated, never expected. Astro, anything else to add? Or any inspiration from Azrael that you want to make any additional comments on? Oh, did we lose Astro? We might have for a second.
He gets a lot of calls on the live,
Yes, he
especially a live like
does.
this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, and I'm going to throw out, please make sure you're following everybody on panel, then you'll know when we go live. So, all right. So Witchy Book Club is every Sunday. Next week, we are doing Bryn's book, Nyx. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous book. If you would like to order the book, go to Bryn's bio on his TikTok, click his link tree, and it will take you to where you can actually order the book. So next week, we're going to be literally talking about his book and the goddess Nyx. It will be for 2 weeks. And then after that, we will be doing C.S. Lewis's The Great Divorce. So Witchy Book Club is not always witchy books. They are spiritual in nature. So to get us thinking and philosophizing and how we can grow and evolve in spiritual signal.
Which actually really just coincidentally just fits so perfectly with the theme of divorce.
Yep. Look at that, Francie. Yes, we will be doing Bryn's book Jezebel. So if you do want to order both books now, you can, because that will be the book after the Great Divorce. But yes, thank you. Yes, see, we've all got our copies. So, all right, we're going to go back. We're finishing up Spiral Dance chapter 13. So we do a chapter a week, and I think doing a chapter a week is so important because we can dive deep and we really do get more philosophical and we grow and develop more as we do that. And it looks like we lost Astro. So I hope he knew that I appreciate him coming up. All right. So really, like, the thing I got the most out of this last chapter, because she's really talking about how we almost need to make the occult like a religion. There is aspects of that. Wicca would be one of them. I mean, personally for me, we've kind of talked about it, and Brennan Azrael's comment were the same. We feel more spiritual than religious. The big thing she throws out is creating a spiritual community. That's where this chapter really, that's just it, is spiritual community. And it's like, it doesn't need to be a religion. Look at us here. we're a beautiful spiritual community. So, so with that thought, we can, like, she talks about like doing rituals with multiple people, fostering diversity. That is key. And recognizing sacredness in all life and nurturing relationships with others, the natural world, and the cosmos. So when we think about that, like, does it have to be a religion, or is it just our beautiful spiritual path? So with that thought in mind, Bren, what's your thought on that transformation? Does it need to be religion, or is it just a beautiful way to have spirituality?
Well, because you can have spirituality with the self, of course, but then with also other people. But because spirituality at its core is heavily tied to Pisces, and it's constantly needing to be in that flow. The minute that you take it and you put it in a different environment, like, because Sagittarius is that organized religion. Sagittarius is that, well, because Sagittarius is not only the one that gives that knowledgeable enlightenment, because it is the highest form of fire, but if you also look at Pisces, it's also the highest state of water. Because when you have something intoxicating, that's the highest form of water. Because when you intake water, your perspective changes. You can, because usually, mostly when you consume water, it's because of thirst. You're in that state of awareness where you're thirsty. You drink water, now you're intoxicated by water. Your desire for water goes down because you've got that. But when you don't have it, that's when you're in that thirst state. So you can have that spirituality for the self, but when you're having it be like with some organization, because there is a way to have that be weaved together by having a structure that prioritizes and advocates for the individual's choice of philosophy, growth, and what they're deeming to be their highest state of mind be the priority. You can have that, and you can do it that way, because that way you're advocating for their spiritual growth and what's right to them while still keeping that structure. It's possible, but it's just like Astro says most of the time, it's that alchemical process. When you add just enough of the organization of Sagittarius, but you prioritize that other part of Pisces or that spirituality, you're able to get that fine-tuned, perfect balance where it works with itself and not against itself.
I love that. Thank you so much, Bren. All right, Azriel, your thoughts?
Brent said, we have to be able to integrate. In other words, be in the presence with other individuals and their perspectives, because you know what? We do have different versions of ourselves, and they talk about it and they call it the ego, but it's really not the ego. It's just, who we are as a character, because we're born into life with our backgrounds and everything, meaning, where we come from. We could all be here on this panel, but I can be born somewhere. The next individual is born somewhere, and the third one is born somewhere. And just alone in the city, there's traits and ways and beliefs and stuff like that, including religious and spiritual aspects of it. Because like yourself, Rowan, you come from that background. I don't want to label it, but I even though it's the same thing, I was growing up as a Roman Catholic, and and you see, they already put any labels on us as children and coming and everything. And I definitely believe that, in spirituality, we accept everybody. It doesn't matter how much they know or how less they partake into it, because many individuals are just barely spiritually awakening. Their journey is just beginning. So some individuals are a little bit more into it, meaning they've grown through it and been through it many, many cycles. But yet, you know what? We don't judge nobody, and we're allowed to believe anybody's aspect. We listen we bring our perspectives. And when we bring our perspectives, we have the understanding that those that we speak to are only going to listen and accept that resonates with them. As we, and vice versa, listen to an individual and say, you know what, that resonates with me. I love that. I'm going to take that with me and integrate it with what I know. And it fine polishes us, because we're diamonds that are actually becoming more and more brilliant, you know, like if you ever see the diamonds, every time they show a diamond commercial, they have a black background and the diamond is there and the light shines through. And as the diamond is turning around, you see all those brilliant colors, all the blues, the whites, the yellows, the reds, the pinks, and all these colors, the brilliance. And this is exactly what Brent was referring to. Once we adapt to all these aspects and all these colors, it's not only making us brighter and brighter, but we become the lighthouse, like a lighthouse shining the way to others. Say, you know what? You see me as bright as I am. You can be the same way. All you got to do is be able to receive, but yet become so transparent that we don't need to guess where you're at. You are already content in your journey, and I'm content in my journey, and we can be brilliant together because if I'm next to you and you're next to the next individual and the next individual, and we're all lined up through it, one light is going through all of us. We are transparent. We are crystals right between one another. That one light, the same light shines through all of us. Doesn't matter who's next in line or where we stand. As long as we're together, we are brilliant. And I think spirituality allows us to buff one another. And when I say buff one another, is allow each other to be an etch in our story. You know, so when you look at a diamond, you have all these different cuts. Each one of us, each perspective that we accept and integrate in our journey allows us to etch another brilliant cut in who we are. And we're becoming more and more Christine. Think about it. And Christine, as a crystalline, it's similar to what they talk in religion, but the true aspects is that we are now walking and knowing that we are both a physical and a spiritual being simultaneously. No longer it's questioning who we are. It's now we're seeing what we are, and we are capable of achieving everything. And I think, some organized religions keep us locked up, and not able to experiment on our own. And how do we know what is right for us? So spirituality brings individuals into our lives that we can hear the stories, how they've been through their trials, through their addictions, through their essays, through loss of a lost one, and so forth. So we're hearing perspectives, so we don't need to walk in their shoes, but we can walk with them through their experience. And through their experience, we grow because now I'm having a lifetime, not only my lifetime, but I have a lifetime of many spiritual friends that I've met and I have grown with. So I got multiple lifetimes in my one lifetime to know what is right, to know what is wrong. And I never needed to pick up a book and learn this, for I experienced it. How? Being in a spiritual community that is always open to embrace me when I need to be embraced, and because, we come in here to be, acknowledged sometimes, and when I say that, sometimes we might feel alone, and in the presence of another, I can feel that, I was never alone. And it reminds me that I was never alone, you know, and that's the key factor. We help each other grow.
Yes, we definitely help each other grow. So, the biggest thing I think we can take from this chapter is that we do need a spiritual community. It's just like we need contact with other humans to survive. We can't live solitary. And it's not just us. Like if we look at the animal kingdom, we see, birds, they're in flocks. We see fish, they're in schools. Like every living organism is in a community. Sorry, it's not getting my. So we're all in a community. So I think like that's the biggest takeaway. I loved your analogy of the diamond because we are all a diamond, regardless of our shadow self and our light self. We just need to let ourselves shine and grow with it. And we can find our spiritual communities wherever we are. And I think like the most important thing is to be open. I know I've said this story before, but in high school, I kind of hung out with all the kids that weren't from the religion that my parents raised me in. And I did have a couple friends that were in the religion, and we were sitting with a bunch of my friends that weren't in the Christian religion, the Christian cult that I grew up in. And my one friend, she was in the cult and really felt like everybody needed to be in this cult. And she made the comment that she felt bad that everybody was not going to go to heaven. And no one wanted to hang out with her after that. And so where I'm going with that is we need our communities, but we need to embrace the uniqueness that each person has. And we need to look for just the beauty within them and the beauty, like their knowledge, their intelligence. And we have that. Like Bren, Azriel, and I, yes, we practice spiritual paths, but our spiritual paths are not exactly the same. And that's what makes it so wonderful that we can like all be here together as a group. And that's what makes it really, really great. And things evolve. You'll see different things evolve. And that's how we grow. That's how we connect with the divine and the cosmos, and we get the answers that we need in life. At least that's what I think. So, Bren, any other comments? I know we're kind of like, it's turned out to like always, we always have like a beautiful conversation, but yes, anything else you want to add?
Well, I mean, I can't really think of anything off the top of my head, but I do want to say there's somebody here named Nani. I love her lives, and I love listening to her. She is extremely intelligent, very spiritually intelligent. I just wanted to make that shout out because it's really deserved.
Well, maybe she wants to join us on panel sometime. So anytime you feel like wanting to join, please feel free to join. So we'd love to have you. All right, Azriel, anything else to add?
Yeah, and don't, feel pressure. Don't feel pressure to let's say what's the word? Tone down. In other words, if you're loud with your spirituality, let's say, even down to the clothes you wear, don't change you to appease everybody. If something resonates with you and you chose to wear an ACDC t-shirt to a family function, that's you. And that comes especially with your words. And your truth is your truth. You don't have to backpedal and appease everybody, because you know what? When you're authentic and genuine, and I'm talking about like, being that diamond that you are versus synthetic. Synthetic looks just like a real diamond, but yet, a synthetic is not going to be authentic. And as long as you're authentic, the rightful ring will be with you, meaning you'll be surrounded. And that ring is a representation of the group of individuals, that community that you can surround yourself with is always going to resonate, because you're going to attract just-minded individuals. You're going to attract just-minded, or just the same frequency of who you are, and that's the key. In life, we feel that we need to force things, and you know what? That's not the way it is. Just be authentic, and if you're happy with yourself, then be happy with yourself. And if somebody comes into your life and is part of your life, then accept them as you both accept one another, and you will see things will start to flourish. Remember, and I'm using this as example, like an example of a garden. You can plant the seeds all, but only one flower is going to grow at a time. And that's what we need to do, and remind ourselves to be patient, embrace life the way it is, be who you are. In other words, your spiritual path is your spiritual path. You can Surround yourself with us where you can embrace us, you can be with us. But understand that life purposes is you're going to have individuals come into your life at the right time. And if by a chance they're not around, don't discredit them for their own journey as well. Don't be selfish. Allow others to grow as well. And what I'm saying, you're in charge of your own journey as they are in charge of their journey. And the more you see that, like I mentioned earlier, life is not about what you know, it's who you know. You have to allow others to grow, for they're going to know something you don't know. And when you are communicating with one another, because communication is the key factor to any relationship, you grow. You know, you know. So yeah, just be you, be authentic, open to receive that at the right time. Have the awareness, set your limitations. In other words, to a realistic, realistic factor. So that way you don't over um, entertain your expectations with the minimal.
I think that's beautiful. And that's, yeah, like, it's just like, I remember I heard somebody say, and it was a marriage thing that they were talking about. They were talking about how, men and women, or men and women and women, well, whatever, like the partnerships, a lot of times people have an expectation that their partner's going to be like this, but the partner's like this. And so then you've got like this divide, and it creates tension and havoc. And so that's the same thing that Azrael's talking about. Like, we don't want to have like extremely high expectations. And then I also wanted to add, like, when we start to find our flow and we heal ourselves, we start to, like, I loved how Azrael said, wear what you want to wear. That's so important, because that's you. When you start to actually be yourself, be your authentic self, you're going to find your vibration rise, and you're going to find that you're not going to be around people that bring you down. So I noticed, like, I had a lot of narcissists in my life at one point, and it wasn't until I could heal myself that narcissists are scared of me now. So it's like you start to see like that change, that spiritual change, and you feel your frequency change, and they can't get to you because their frequency is so low that you're like, turn around, walk away, let it go, right? So that's why we let it go is so important. Anything else you want to add, Bren?
Vouch for the ideas of when you stand in your resonance, and if you're really knowing of what is true for you, it is next to impossible to get diverted from it. Because, and the beautiful thing is that what somebody's truth is never going to be precisely the exact same to another person. And precisely, I mean, look at me for a good example. I've known my truth as being with my significant other. And everything you could possibly think of was trying to knock me off of my truth. Everything, even him, at times. And it's like, nope, you're not pushing me off. But you deserve better. But how can I get better if I already have it? You deserve someone that can give you everything that'll make you happy. Well, I already have it. So it's like, because being true to yourself in that regard, and not even caring if what's giving you that happiness even tries to turn on it and set you out and cut it off, that takes another level of understanding yourself truly, and not afraid of anything that tries to divert you from that. Be it person, circumstance, be it even yourself. When you have your own self turn on yourself and saying, why even bother keep going for this? Nothing's even changing. How do you know that? It's like you have to ask yourself the questions when you have your own negative hissy-fitty mind saying, well, he's not doing anything that's going to make us feel better. Okay. So how do we know it's not his medical condition? Because him having schizophrenia and bipolar disorder, how do we know if it's just his medical condition being so overrun that he can't even comprehend what's going on at the moment? So how's that fair to him when he cannot do it? He's not able to. So how can we hold him to that high standard when he cannot do it at this time? See?
Percent.
Yeah. And that's why we can't have high expectations. Like we.
There is one expectation I have given him, only one. I expect you to be you.
That's, yes. You know what? That's the only expectation we should have for anybody.
Yep. And he, I remember telling him that, and he's like, "What's that mean? Are you you right now?" Yeah, obviously, Bren. Who else would I be? Good. That's all I need.
Yeah.
But I don't get it. Give it a little.
Yeah, when we're authentic, you're going to find yourself more happy when you're authentic and when you're with somebody who allows you to be authentic. And when you allow them to be authentic, that's the most important thing. And honestly, like as weird as it is, the Beatles, all you need is love. I still stand by that, man. That's all we need. All we need is love.
Love, baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. Oh, Lord.
Exactly. All right. Well, just as a reminder, we have Tuesday Tarot this week, and we are doing Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah. Or Wheel of the
Yes.
Year, Wheel of the Seasons, or Wheel of Fate, whatever you have.
Yes. Fate, Fortune, yes. Depending on the card and depending on the author. So yes, Tuesday is Tuesday Tarot. So we will talk about the Wheel of Fortune, and then we will do one card readings. And that starts at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then finally this week, because I've been saying it for weeks and I don't know why, but we Thursday's panel is our spiritual panel, and we are talking about the astrological sign of Cancer, and that is at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So Thursday and Sunday are the only open panels that I have. So because Tuesday it is just Bren, Azriel, and myself. And then next Sunday, so a week from today at 9:30 p.m., we are doing Bryn's book on the goddess Nyx. It is a stunning, stunning book. So we will be discussing the goddess Nyx, and we will have that for 2 weeks. We'll be doing that for 2 weeks. And then if you want to be ready for the third week, it will be The Great Divorce by Cashapp. Yeah, go ahead, Bryn.
I wanted to also say, why don't you read the back of it just to give everybody a tease?
There we go. Yes, let me tease everybody.
Can I read the back of it? I love that. Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Azriel can read the back of it.
All right. You know what? And you display it. Can you display it? Okay. Yes, here we go. From chaos came Nyx, as the first known of the primordial divines to come into being. Next, the primordial goddess of the night is one who is often not spoken of. This work is intended to change that and provide the first mother of all and you the chance to invest into one another. From her mentioning in the classic text to initiating the connection with her, this work provides all you need to grow that connection.
So there's your little tease for
Now,
next.
I don't know about you, the way that I wrote that, it makes you like, I'm going to invest in this? Well, yes, because, and I use that word specifically, because when you invest in something, you're gaining something. You're giving your time, you're getting something back. And not just the reader, but also Nyx herself.
Yes.
So it's a win-win.
It is. So if you need to get the book still, please go, make sure you're following Bren, go to his bio, hit Linktree, and then it will take you to his books, and then you can purchase his book. We'll also be doing his book Jezebel, but let's see, it will be in a while. I don't remember how many chapters or sections are in The Great Divorce. I'll have to look at how I'm going to divide up The Great Divorce, so So you might, so, feel free to order Jezebel and Nyx at the same time. So, but we're gonna say our goodbyes, and I hope we gave you a lot to think about. I do post my TikTok lives on my YouTube and my Patreon, and you can find those in my bio. I have a bio site, and so you can click that, and it can take you to Patreon or YouTube, where you can follow both, and you can get any of the TikTok live replays. So that's always kind of nice. Then you can go listen to them again if you need to listen to them again. So, and I want to thank everybody so much for the hearts and so much for the gifts. We always appreciated, never expected. Bren, anything beautiful and lovely that you want to say tonight to say goodbye?
Ciao, arrivederci, so long. Bon, I mean, no, not, no, wait, it was, c'est la vie. There we go. C'est la vie.
All right, Azriel, any message or any special goodbyes?
Just stay positive and remember to just be you. Just be you, and you'll be amazed.
Very, very true. Well, thank you everybody so much for joining us. As always, merry meet, merry part, bright blessings, and namaste.